I want to reiterate what the elder said when he said that our parents didn't teach us about the racial division. They left us out here. They sent us in the battle without no weapons. I know every black man have experienced this. Put a like in the comment. Put it just put the fist in there if this has happened to you. How many times have y'all held the door open for a black woman and she walked right through it and she didn't even acknowledge you. She didn't even say thank you. She walked right through it like that's the least you could do.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the hood. Let's talk about them gangs. Come on. That's in them penitentiaries for twisting their fingers. Let's talk about the hoovers, the Pyrus from looters. Let's talk about having some truces with trades and dudes. Come on. Let's talk about the racist shit and crooked politics. The government don't care about niggas, they love immigrants. Let's talk about my past. Let's talk about my pain. It's so hard to maintain wearing red flame. Let's talk about my thug. You know we had them drugs. Let's talk about that ghetto girl that betrayed my love. Let's talk about Farrakhan. Let's talk about the Bible. Let's talk about the Quran. Let's talk about Elijah. Let's talk about my daddy, my candy-coated caddy. Let's talk about my mama happy that she chose to have me. Let's talk about the kids. Let's talk about the blues. Tune into the Let's Talk Shop with that old school.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I was listening to a show on XM Radio. It's the Clay Kane Show. Now, Clay Kane, he do a show called Exonerated. Real good show. It's where he talk about, brothers that's been exonerated from prison. They spent like 20, 25, sometimes 30 years in prison. And then they find out that they were innocent. And then they set them free. Sometimes they get money that's worth it. Sometimes they don't. But today I was listening to a show. It's called the Clay Kane Show. And he had Reese, I want to say Reese Daniels. Was that her name? They both do a good show. But today, a brother called in and he was giving his take on why he didn't vote. And black people in a certain age bracket, they don't understand why black people are choosing not to vote. Right? Now, this man, he gave an intelligent spiel on everything he was saying. And as soon as he said he didn't vote and the reason why he didn't vote, the two hosts of the show, Reese Daniels, I believe it was, but Clay Kane for sure, they just stopped listening to the brother. It was if like what he said after that don't mean nothing. But what they were telling him is, why should we listen to you when you don't vote? And I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, man, they don't listen to you when you do vote. Right? So the brother was explaining, hey, man, I'm holding my vote because us as a people, we're not getting nothing. We're not getting nothing. We're not getting anything tangible. All of the things that we asked for, all of the immigrants are getting it. We get nothing. So I'm holding my vote because there's no use in me voting. Now I understood everything that man said. They were so busy bashing Trump. And, ignorant people say, oh, if you don't vote, Trump win. Okay, whatever, if that's the way you think, right? But soon after that, this elder black man called in. And he said he was in the service when he was, a young man. It was in the 70s. It was in the 1970s when he was in the service. And he said he didn't want to come on and bash white people. He said, but he noticed the injustice that, now I don't want to get the millennials screwed up, but my generation, the brothers that's in their 50s and up,
dang,
what this elder man was saying, that our parents from my generation failed us. They failed us. He said, what we failed to do, and he was speaking on his generation. And before, he said, we didn't teach you guys how to be racially divided. Now let me repeat that. He said we didn't teach y'all about racial division. Not how to be racial divided. Let me rephrase that. He said we didn't teach you about racial division. He said black folks stopped telling their children about the evil nature of white people and how they really, by nature, don't like you.
My nigga.
He said, but white people didn't stop teaching their kids that. That's why you still have the same outcome today. And not only white people, you got the Hispanic, the Asian, the Indian, all across the board. They teach their children we are their enemy. But we don't teach our kids that.
He ain't lying.
We don't teach our kids that. We don't. I'm going to give you an example. My daughter came home. She's in the 3rd grade. She said a little Indian girl called her a monkey.
What?
I said, oh, yeah. Okay. All right. So me and my wife called up to the school. The teachers at this school is predominantly black. Let me tell you how this went. They asked my daughter didn't say anything. She told her sister, my other daughter, as soon as she came home, but we found out the very next morning. So I said, okay, that's okay. No worries. We called and we spoke to the teacher. And she said, well, the little girl said she didn't say that. I said, oh, she's just going to take her word for it. Now, me, I'm a parent. I know kids are going to be kids because I was a kid. When my daughter said this, the first thing I said, okay, mommy, what happened? What did she say? She said, you're a monkey. And I said, well, what did you say? She said, I told her that's racist and she shouldn't be talking to me like that. And I don't want to be friends with people that's going to call me those kind of names.
That's right, I said it.
Now, that's what my daughter said. So when we spoke to her teacher said she didn't call her that. She said, but she did call her a name.
How about you and your friends versus me and the revolution?
So I said, well, listen, I ain't going to say the teacher's name. I said, well, listen, let me explain something to you. I said, my daughter explained to me that she told her that no, let me back up. The little girl she said my daughter was a yapper. She said she called her a yapper. I said, let me explain something to you. My daughter said her response was, that's racist. I don't want to be friends with anybody that will call me that. I said, a yapper is not a racist term. I said, we are a black family. All of my children know what it means to be black, from my youngest to my oldest. So I went on, I explained to the teacher, I said, listen, I want this handled as if someone said a derogatory term towards the LGBT community.
I know that you're gay.
I want this to be handled the same way it would be handled if someone says something derogatory against the Jewish community. I said, I got 4 children, and all of my children have experienced this. Every time it gets swept under the rug like, oh, it's nothing. No, it's something. It's something. So she said, would you like for me to take her? I said, yes, I would like to speak to the superintendent of the school because, excuse my words, I know how this goes. And black people, y'all know, we don't use racist terms towards people at school. We don't say that. We don't say racially derogatory terms against other people. We don't do that. We don't be calling white people hunkies and Puerto Rican spicks and Jews kites. We don't be doing all of that.
We don't do that.
We don't do that. A lot of us don't even know what those terms are. Now we'll call you punk ass motherfucker. We'll call you, bitch ass nigga. We'll call you a African booty scratcher. Yeah, we'll call you those terms. But racially, racial terms, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. And it bothered me that this black woman didn't have no type of. It was like it didn't bother her. It was like it didn't bother her. So I told her, I said, I want this to be treated in the same manner it would be if, somebody called somebody a faggot. I want it to be treated the same way. Because if it was one of my children that said a derogatory term towards a white person, you know what they would have did? Let me tell you what they would have did. They call you in, they want to have a meeting. And they want to ask you, well, is this the kind of language that you use in your household with your children? So I want that same treatment. I want that same treatment because not only do I teach my children about, racial disparities, I also teach them if somebody put their hands on you, ain't no such thing as telling no teacher. You whoop ass. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. That's the way I was brought up. You get a better outcome like that, and you get respected better when you do that. When a person know you'll whoop their ass, they ain't gonna say nothing foul to you. They're not gonna say nothing foul to you. So, I got a little bit off topic because I brought in the thing with my daughter, and I got a little passionate about it. But the initial it flowed though. It flowed because how I handle this situation with my daughter, she's going to look at that and she's going to internalize it. So once she sees because we're going to have a meeting with the superintendent in the school, and I'm going to say the same thing. No, ma'am, no, this is not just kids being kids. Because when it's my kids doing something, you want to come down on them like they're adults. And I'm not having that. I'm an advocate for my kids first. Just like you're an advocate for your people, I'm an advocate for mine. Right? So, back to the Clay Kane show. You get a lot of these radio show hosts and people that got huge podcasts. Whenever somebody comes in and it sounds like they are being too black, they immediately shut them down. They don't want to hear it, or they go another direction with the conversation. And that's why we stay in the situation. That's why we stay in the position that we're in, right? Now, I'm an equal opportunist. Whatever is good for you is good for me. If it's good for me, it's good for you. Okay? I'm gonna give you the same respect you give me. I might give that to you first, depending on what end of the spectrum it's coming from first, right? Whoever get the opportunity to extend that olive branch first, it should be dealt with in a respectful manner, unless otherwise, right? So when I look at, especially down here in Texas, man, these black folks out here, they don't know they free.
Give us free.
They scary, man. They are scary. They are scared of white folks, man. They are scared of white folks. And these white folks is nice like Sesame Street. They nice like please and thank you. I didn't grow up in the South. My roots is out here, but I didn't grow up in the South. I don't know what it's like to put my head down when I see white folks. I don't know what it's like to bow down to white folks. I don't know what it's like to bow down to anybody. But when I see how these niggas act out here, I'm like, what? This is how y'all. Oh no, I can't, man. I'm sticking to myself. I'm solo bolo. I don't see nobody that's cut from the cloth that I'm from, especially if you scared of them. You scared of them, oh no, man. You can just get on up off my. If you scared of them and the first person you want to get rah-rah with is your own kind, no, I can't rock with you, homie. We ain't cut from the same cloth. But I want to reiterate what the elder said when he said that our parents didn't teach us about the racial division They left us out here. They sent us in the battle without no weapons. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did. They sent us into battle with no weapons. And we had to learn, my age group, 50s and up, our age group, we learned it from our peers in the streets. Hip hop is what taught us this. This is why they banned it. This is why they turned hip hop and put it to all of the sexy reds and the Sukianas. That's not how hip hop wasn't. This ain't hip hop. This is shit hop. This is not hip hop today, right? So hip hop back in the day, you had the Chuck D's, Public Enemy, Fight the Power, even Ice Cube. When Ice Cube brought Khalid Muhammad on his albums, that's what exposed us to Ice Cube. That's what exposed us to Khalid Muhammad. Even though we knew who he was, but when you get on the album with a multi-million, that's how that's when he gained all of that exposure. And of course, the nation got jealous of that and they wanted to silence him. And then, of course, Cube, once it came down on the Cube abandoning, you know how that shit go.
Moment, black people who pretended to be close to me started running from me. Ice Cube started melting on me. These Negroes who play hard pretend they're gangsters. But when the real gangster, the cracker, comes on the scene, they punk out. Scared to do an album with me now. Scared of what the white folks gonna say. What the Jews gonna say. On this video, some of you seen it on TV, the new one that just came out with Scarface. He says something about put my gat in your mouth or my gun in your mouth and make you vomit. I'm down with Khalid Abdul Muhammad. But when it's time to be down with Khalid Muhammad, shot in both legs, assassination attempt against his life, ain't no goddamn Ice Cube nowhere to be found. He's melting somewhere on the sidelines. Punk.
But and since Khalid, it ain't been one like him. It ain't been one like him. So our people have been on the decline far as our confidence, our spirit, our courage, and our heart. Courage and heart going, one and the same. But ever since then, we didn't have anybody to look up to give us that knowledge and that what's the word I'm looking for? The wherewithal to say that's how we need to be. Because everybody out now, man, they bootlicking. Look at all of the rappers. Look at all of the rappers. You got Snoop one year saying what he gonna do if somebody do the same thing he's doing a few years later.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? Osby's the one that performs for himself.
All of the hip hop rappers now, all of the rappers now are sellouts. Name one that's down for the people. None. Ain't not one. I can't think of one. Name one that would do what Colin Kaepernick did. None of them did it. Name one of them that would do what Muhammad Ali did. No, I can only think of those two that put their career on the line for the people. That's it. Nobody else did that. You see what I'm saying? So I look at it as, hey, we could say whatever we want, but wait, hold on one second. Let me get this. But again, when we have our people out here and we leave them out to dry when they don't know what they fighting for. Because only people we know how to fight is each other. And we don't even do that right. We don't even do that right. I hate to see black men and women going at each other. That's why this gender divide. I'm done with the what is that? The black male and female gender wars. Done with that, man. That shit is whack. We the only people that we see. You don't see the white man and the white woman arguing with each other. You don't see the Mexican man arguing with his woman or her disrespecting him. You don't see the Asian. You only see the black man and the black woman at each other's throats like they hate each other. Man, it's terrible. It's terrible. You can't even speak to a black woman out here without her look. Man, I was walking into um, the Sam's Club the other day, and there was one black woman. She coming out. I said, "Hey, how you doing today?" Man, she ignored me. Why would you ignore her, brother? I just said, "Hey, how you doing?" We made eye contact. "Hey, how you doing today, sister?" And she looked at me like, "When was that? When was that?" If it's like that, dude, like, come on. You bitches want to be by yourself, and I mean that word. I'm not that because that's the behavior of a bitch, not a woman, because a woman wouldn't behave that way, right? Now I get it, and on behalf of the women, I know a lot of time brothers may approach you and say hi to you, and if you speak back, he may feel that that's the okay for him to approach you, and you don't want that type of behavior. I get that. I get that. But the women ignoring, that wasn't the energy I got from this sister. It was more so like, how dare you speak to me? You're not worthy to speak to me. Then you hold the door open for him, and every brother that watched this comment, let me know. I know every last one of you. I know every black man have experienced this. Put a like in the comment. Put it just put the fist in there if this has happened to you. How many times have y'all held the door open for a black woman and she walked right through it and she didn't even acknowledge you. She didn't even say thank you. She walked right through it like that's the least you could do. How many? You see? Now this is why you see women online complaining. I dropped all my groceries and all these men were standing around and they didn't help me. Why are we gonna help you? What are we helping you for? What are we helping you for? It makes no sense. You don't need men. Remember, that's what you said. That's what you said. You don't need men. But it's a sad thing because when these women get older in their 50s and their 60s and they realize, man, I was wrong.
And it's difficult to learn to live alone. It's difficult because I'm difficult. I'm not easy to live with. You know, you have 3 or 4 choices here that will give you a terrible day or a wonderful day. And there's no one else to blame except you. Because you're here alone. You can't say he did this or he did that. It's all you. And you don't seem to want to make yourself extremely happy the way you wanted other people to come along to make you extremely happy. Nobody can make you extremely happy but you. I was an old lady before I understood that.
It's too late then. It's too late. But comment. Let me know what you agree with and what you disagree with, man. Let's have some dialogue. We're going to keep it G. Or as my brother Black Dot say, we're going to keep it a bean. And I'm going to holler at y'all next time. Peace out.
Let's talk about it, man.